So Andrew, where are we going now?
We're going to see the elephants, the baby elephants at the nursery.
Estamos yendo a ver los bebés elefantes. ¿Cómo les parece? La bobadita. ¿Ah? With Mr. Andrew. Con el señor Andrew. So how many elephants they have there, Andrew?
We have 6 baby elephants.
Tienen 6 elefantes bebés. And what are we going to see?
We are going to see how they drink milk now.
Estamos yendo a ver cómo ellos toman lechita ahora. How old are the elephants?
The biggest is 2 years, 6 months.
El mayor, bueno, el elefantico mayor tiene 2 años y 6 meses. And the youngest?
The youngest is 9 months.
El menor tiene 9 meses aproximadamente. Good, stay there. That's your house. That's your house.
But I think that this animal can come for, I think they do this every day. Pigs. So, oh, that's nice. We're getting the water ready. So you can't go deep. No. We'll just watch from here. But it's such a good view. It is.
So basically, I usually get here a little bit earlier and run through Game Rangers International, who we are. We're an NGO, we've been in Zambia for 12 years now, and our primary focus is to rescue orphan elephants, rehabilitate them, which you're seeing now is stage 1 of that process, and then to release them back into the wild. We only intervene with rescues if a baby is caused to be separated from its mum or on its own due to human impact or human error. So we've got the Wildlife Rescue Department, which you can see information here. And then with the Wildlife Rescue Department, we also have a community outreach project and a resource protection project, which is just to the right over there. So once the elephants come in, I'll run through a bit more details about these projects. Being a wild species, they come usually about 12 o'clock, but it could be a little bit later than that depending on how hungry they are. So if you keep an eye out around you, the elephants, we've got 6 orphans. They're free roaming out in the wild. They do have 2 keepers with them at all times just to make sure they're safe, always remembering that they are little babies. So these ones are newly rescued, so our wildlife response team will go out working with national parks, they'll rescue them, stabilise them, and then bring them back to the nursery here. And then they will stay here until they're between 3 and 4 years of age. So the youngest one we have at the moment is 7 months of age, and then the oldest one is 3 years and 3 months. Are they coming? Can anyone see their milk pots?
Yes.
Yeah, how many milk pots? So it's really important because each little elephant is different ages, different sizes, different condition. So it means that we have to create a formula for that baby specifically, depending on its growth and its history and how it is going in rehabilitation with us. So the keepers are in the boma there. They've prepared their milk bottles ready for the other keepers that are out in the wild with them to walk on in and feed them. So you might see some confusion of babies running to one keeper and the keeper moving them aside because they don't have that baby's bottle. And the only thing on the baby's mind is just to get to a bottle. So it all happens quite fast. How fast do you think, do we have the bottle here? How fast do you think they can finish a 2-litre bottle of milk formula?
1 minute?
Under a minute. Yes, so by the time we sight them, I'll be nice and quiet. We'll let you take photos, videos, enjoy the moment. They're basically going to come from outside, run underneath us there, and go straight to their bottle. Can you see anything that we've put in the boma area there, on the ground, anywhere that we've gone and put in there? The browse, like the green leaves, yeah, so there's branches that we go and cut off-site, and then we put them in there. So this allows them to still get all of the nutritional requirements throughout the day of their daily intake, so they still have the option to browse on fresh green leaves while they're in the boma. So we bring the elephants, or we allow the elephants to come back for the 12 p.m. milk feed, and we share this moment with you guys because it's the heat of the day, so they're going to be returning here anyway, so we can ensure that they've got their milk, they've got access to shade, fresh water, and the option to mud bath. It's very dry out there now, so it is important that they come in and they have this downtime so we can monitor them. And then we share that moment with you guys so you can actually experience it. The reason we're up on this raised deck away from the area where they spend most of their time is because we don't want to have any sort of impact on them as people. So we have a hands-off policy. The only people that touch these elephants or have anything directly to do with these elephants are the keepers. So they're all trained keepers. They are basically the elephant's mother. So they are the elephant's first point of contact in a rescue. The keeper's primary focus is to go and bond and let that elephant smell them and create that bond to try and get them feeding, whilst then all of the veterinary team does their thing with stabilising them. So the little elephant will be provided with its own stable in there. So underneath the thatch is all individual stables for them. It's basically their bedrooms. So that's their safe haven. No elephant goes into each other's stable. It's all separate and it's only that baby's stable. At the moment they're all closed, so while they're in here for lunchtime, they're a herd together. They've got their keepers all with them with the milk bottles to make sure that each elephant gets its milk. But throughout the night they're separated in their stables. They're asleep in their bedrooms, and we've got 2 keepers that actually sleep on the raised platform in there in tents. So they're with them all the time and they get fed every 3 hours, so throughout the day and the night. So you'll see them coming in on the right there. They're quite orange because of the soil around here. You can see it's quite dusty, mud bathing each day and being out there throwing dust on themselves. So all these 6 elephants that you'll meet today are nice and fit and strong and healthy. They're all feeding on 2 litres of milk, just their each specific formula.
Do you know the elephants sleep as human babies? Like, they sleep like human babies?
So it is very, very, because of their age, they're under 3 years of age, so it's very, very important that they do rest. So it's like a little kid. If they're allowed to be roaming out in the wild or on a playground, they're going to play and play and play, and they don't realise that they're actually tired, and then they exhaust themselves. So the keepers as their mums have to be mindful of that. There's also very limited shade out there, as you'll be able to see, so it's important that they bring them in here so they can monitor them, make sure that it's forcing them to have that rest or to have that mud bath play to cool down, because it is the heat of the day.
Baby.
So it looks like Tuko on the left there down by the water has finished her bottle first already, and then she's thrown it in the water. So what you're seeing is all their normal routine and normal behaviours of a baby elephant minus the bottle. They don't have their mums for milk. So they come in, they have their milk feed, then they're going to drink fresh water there. So the protectant layer on their skin.
Ed.
So you'll see on the left there one of our head keepers. He's conducting our research studies today to observe their behaviour. So this is really important aspect of our research, to see how much of an impact we as people have on them. how reactive they are to us being up here on the deck, or to anybody down below there, or while they're out on the walk. How they react to things in their environment, aeroplanes flying over, animals, other wild animals that they come in contact with.
Who's been studied today?
Yeah. I think he could be doing a limbo, but I'm not 100% sure. One over at the water point still drinking.
6 months, right?
He's 7 months here, estimated roughly.
Yeah.
In the last 3 weeks, he's just learnt to consecutively suck water up with his trunk and then be able to drink water and then get his trunk stuck under the water, and then he couldn't breathe, and he was trying to figure out how to actually be able to drink these large volumes of water when he came in so thirsty. So you can see he's nice and confident in using his trunk now, and that's all normal for a little elephant of his age. I'll run through. Did you want me to keep talking about their profiles, or do you want to get a few more videos without me talking? Sorry, I got the two little ones mixed up. So this is little Zongo, the smallest one on the right, splashing muddy water on him. He's our newest rescue. So he actually, on a really rare occasion, he was reported to us by the community. So under our community project, we work with national parks and schools running different programs to educate local community in wildlife conservation, about the environment, and in particularly about elephants, and teaching them different mitigation strategies for living in these hotspot conflict areas where elephants are moving through farms and farmers are trying to grow crops for survival. So little Zongo was reported to us by Big Shazongo in the Kafui National Park area. And when National Parks and our wildlife rescue team responded, they then got informed by someone else in the community saying there is another little baby within 2 kilometres away. That's Susila. So she was named, she's the little chubbier one that looks slightly bigger than him over by the water. When she was named after a water pool in that location. So they'll either be named, every single elephant is provided with a number when we attend to a rescue. They're then not given a name unless they're ensured that they're going to survive. So if they've passed that stage where we've had to stabilise them with the vet team, they're feeding well, they're putting on weight and we're happy, then they get a name because they're now part of the orphan herd here. Still got a big road ahead of them for rehabilitation until they feel confident enough and strong enough to be fit for the wild. She's about a month older than him. Okay. And then, so on the left at the front here, like closest to us but facing away, is the Limba. So she was named a Limba as with the meaning that she's strong. So her story is the most traumatic out of all of these babies. Mbila and Zongo most likely thought it was human-elephant conflict. A herd or a couple of herds were moving through that area, they got pushed off, and little babies of that age can't keep up with their mums. Whereas a Limba, we attended to a call with National Parks, wildlife rescue response went on in there, and they found her mum had been collapsed and she was just standing next to her mum. Her mum was still alive. She'd been shot 3 times and had a snare stuck on her as well until her mum did collapse, and so she just stayed with her mum. At that point, National Parks then had to imagine that it took a long time for the keepers to create that bond and build up that trust with her. So she took a little bit of extra time trying to get her, when we're doing her weight assessments and checks to make sure she was growing how she should be. She still is a little bit weary, and so that's all because of the traumatic past that she's been through with the way that she was separated from her mum. Then we have Ludaka, the male that's walking away quite muddy to the right there. So he's the oldest of the group. He's about 3 years and 3 months of age now, and he is the leader of the group. So he's actually at the age where he is ready to be translocated to our release facility centre. He's very emotional and intelligent. We don't just transfer them one at a time. Through our behaviour studies, we see who's closely bonded, and then we'll transfer them together. So he is closely bonded with the other eldest one, who's a month younger than him, which is Tuko, that's walking away. Her full name's Lufa Tuko, running over to shove the other one off. to protect them. So they go straight to their keeper because that's their mum, and they're saying, "Mum, I'm hungry, I want my bottle, where's my food?" And they'll start nudging their keepers, which is okay. We want them to have that schools around the nursery, and then they also are based in Kafui National Park and go to all of the rural schools around there. We have station in this area, and it opens up any questions that the community have in order to help educate them being able to live and coexist with elephants in their area. Yeah. Another really important aspect of our community project is working with the women out there and identifying what they're good at and are interested in. And then they've helped them get all of the resources to be able to produce those products, and then we are their primary source for selling those products. Elephants, they couldn't figure out where they were moving the tusks. There was no action, so they couldn't actually find where these poachers were moving through. They then had some information from some of the local community in another area and said that the fishermen were involved with this. So it meant that they went out on a night ops. And they discovered that actually in the middle of the pile of the netted fish they had on each of their canoes was elephant tusks, and that's how they were moving. So there's been a lot more successful ambushes and arrests besides that one, but that's just quite an interesting one of where we've been able to get reports on what they're hearing of who's poaching and who's going to be in what area. Most of the time we're trying to intervene before the poachers have got into the park and actually caused damage. I was in a meeting and I was like, I had no idea what it was. I would, so the resource protection. So just go onto the website. Yeah, I think if you go onto the team website, say yeah, and you send out there or something. Then if you want to do, I've already sent your resume off to my director. That was Rachel, she was there before, I was in the meeting with her. So, and I spoke to her on the phone yesterday, and so she basically said, we can't do anything short term. But I said, I was like, your resume is great, you can out there. Yeah. So, yeah, I think so. No, I think you'll get in for sure, because I could get in through like the big related or nursing related or whatever, then they'll notify you. So basically, yeah, what I would recommend is to email it through, so then your email is in that department system of volunteering, and then now what we're doing, and we're open to different ideas, and we share what our findings as well, which is really amazing.
It's so interesting. Very different to that side. Very different.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think people, we're not a tourism based, and then see how amazing these little babies are, how intelligent they are. They're only 3 years old. They've lost their moms. They've gone through trauma. They still have the ability to trust these keepers and these keepers only. If I walk past there, they know me. Yeah. But they're not going to run over to me. They're just like, oh, she's just walking past me. No, that's fine. Yeah. If you see a keeper walk past there, they will run down and they'll follow him the whole way. They'll be like, have you got milk? Are you going to I'll quickly tell you some stories that are quite interesting, just to explain our success of this whole rehabilitation program of what you're seeing. So in the whole 12 years, we have released 3 elephants.